In this video, we will talk about fetal development and the stages of human gestation. There are some critical points in gestation that are important for social workers to know. So human gestation is a 40-week period that is generally broken into 3 trimesters. And this is often dated using the gestational age or the fertilization age. The gestational age is marked from the date of the beginning of the woman's last menstrual period, and the fertilization age is approximately 14 days after the beginning of the last menstrual period. So even though there's 2 weeks in between the gestational and fertilization age, usually a pregnancy is considered started, or we start counting how many weeks pregnant someone is 2 weeks before fertilization, when the gestational age starts. So after fertilization, the zygote has a 7-day journey to the uterus. It travels through a woman's fallopian tubes to the uterus, and then whenever the zygote merges with the uterine wall is the wall of the uterus where the fetus will grow during the gestation. This is when teratogens are a risk for for women to either have a miscarriage or for there to be problems with development of the fetus. After the 8 weeks of fertilization, then we enter the fetal period, and this is when an embryo can be called a fetus. And like I mentioned, this is when miscarriages most often happen, is during the first trimester. And approximately 17% of all pregnancies end in miscarriage. And about half of all miscarriages are caused by abnormalities in the fetus's genetic makeup. So the DNA that the fetus had made it unable to continue developing. The second trimester is when the most brain development happens. Women who are pregnant should be concerned about their weight during this period, because not gaining enough weight can mean that the baby, when it's born, might be small for its age, or it may be underweight. And then excessive weight gain, on the other hand, can lead to hypertension and diabetes, which has other problems. The second trimester is also when quickening happens. Quickening is when the pregnant person can feel the fetus moving, and sometimes people can feel this movement from the outside of the woman's body. The third trimester, this is when a mother must really meet their own nutritional needs and the nutritional needs of the fetus, which means that the mother really has to think about their own food and nutritional intake. About 30% of women during this time are iron deficient, which can put the neonate at risk for also having anemia. And this is a time whenever pregnant women are very uncomfortable because the weight of the fetus is increasing and can cause a lot of discomfort for the mother. The last part of fetal development is the labor and delivery of the neonate. And Sometimes women can experience what's called Braxton Hicks contractions or false labor, which is when you feel the contraction, but it's not actually um, the baby being pushed forward. So it feels like real contractions, but they are not productive contractions. Another term to be aware of is primipara and multipara. That is the difference between a first time mom or a first time delivery, and if there have been multiple deliveries. So for a first time mom, they're called primiparas, and then if you've had a baby before, it's considered multipara. Lightning can happen at different times. Lightning is contractions, and for first time moms, it may be longer of a wait before she goes into labor, whereas labor tends to be quicker and faster. That's the same word. It tends to be faster and sooner than whenever first time moms deliver. So the stages of labor, there's really three. One is when the cervix dilates and thins. So that is whenever in the movies you hear the nurses talk about how much the mom has dilated. Has she dilated to 4 or 5? That means how many centimeters her cervix is dilated to make room for the baby to move through the birth canal. This is also when amniotic fluid is released, and that is basically the sciencey way of saying that a woman's water has broken. And then the second step is the actual delivery of the baby, when the baby goes through the birth canal and is delivered, or is delivered through an incision for a C-section birth. And then the third stage of labor is when the placenta and any amniotic fluid and membranes are also delivered. So I want you to watch the two videos that are connected with fetal development to see what the different stages are from a medical perspective.